Okay, so programs this month are sponsored by Bay Area Hospital. We won't have time today for a normal 30-second around the room because these folks have a lot of stuff that they have to get through. So today we have candidates for North Bend mayor. One of you will be my mayor in November, so be careful what you say.
Okay. Shuffling my notes.
So incumbent mayor Jessica Engelke was raised in North Bend, lived around places for a while, including Amsterdam, returned home in 2010 to raise her family. In 2017, Jessica served as a chamber president, and in 2018 was elected as councilor for North Bend, Oregon. In 2020, she became North Bend's first female mayor and is currently serving her second term. Jessica is also president-elect of the League of Oregon Cities, representing 241 cities in Oregon, and was recently appointed by the governor to the Regional Solutions Advisory Committee. Oh, I didn't know that. To ensure that our rural voice is heard in Oregon. Jessica is one of the founding members of the Oregon Mayor's Coastal Caucus. In addition to public service, she is a tenured professor at SWAC, where she teaches a variety of business classes. She has a wonderful family, husband Stephen and two daughters, Emily and Sophia, and a beloved dog, Rosie. That's also the name of our little vacuum robot, Rosie.
Yeah, I love that.
Harry Haines VII. That's the Roman numerals. I think it's 7.
Yeah.
Harry, is there a Harry Haines VII?
No, there's not.
No, so.
I've got 3 stepkids.
Okay, so after
I figured
that,
that was enough.
we're gonna have to go into X's and stuff, so.
Right.
Okay.
But it gets confusing.
You're the last of the long line.
Yes.
Harry was born in Sonora, California in 1966, and his family moved to Charleston. And he attended Charleston Elementary School, Inglewood Elementary, Bunker Hill Elementary, and North Bend Junior High. His family moved to Spokane, Washington, and couldn't wait to move back to North Bend. He was able to move back in 90 or 91, worked as a heavy equipment operator, commercial fisherman, bartender, cook, bouncer, truck driver, and for the last 20 years as a communications lineman. Currently, for the last 3 years, working as the local manager for Ziply Fiber for Southern Oregon. So if you want to get hooked up on the World Wide Web, Harry's your guy. Harry married his wife and her 3 children on February 4th, 1995, and they have raised the kids here in North Bend. He enjoys spending time with kids, along with 9 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren. Can we just give him a hand for that? You know, that's the last time you guys can clap until we're all done. We just need to get through these things. Camping, hunting, fishing, playing in the sand dunes. He hopes to work with the citizens and leaders of North Bend. Together, we can build a better future for North Bend with honesty, integrity, and transparency. Okay, so today we have with us our timekeeper, Andrew Brainerd. He will be putting up little signs.
What do those signs mean?
I mean, to stop talking.
We're limited.
When you get the stop talking sign, please finish your thought, but then it's time to stop because we really do need to get through many things here. So as a reminder, this is a forum, not a debate. We all have different experiences and perspectives. It's okay to discuss differences and disagree, but let's be civil. These folks came here and paid $20 for lunch, not to watch you beat each other up. It's okay to have different opinions. Please have different opinions, please. But talk about them. We might disagree on how best to accomplish the things that need to be accomplished, but overall, we want to make North Bend the best city on the planet. So please, no sticks, no stones, no brass knuckles, no tasers. no large caliber firearms, no small caliber firearms, no field artillery, no bazookas, no hand grenades, no nunchucks, no poison darts, no kicking, no pinching, no slingshots. And please remember to keep snark to a level 3 on the snark meter. Our flow today will go like this. We'll have a 3-minute opening statement by each candidate. Then I'll ask a question and you'll have 2 minutes to respond. Our timer, Andrew Brainerd, will hold up the cards at the appropriate time. We have 8 questions. We may not get to all 8. So we'll just have to see how time goes. And then we'll have a 2-minute closing statement by each candidate. Any questions? Is it okay to use your first names?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I get confused otherwise. Questions? First, we'll start with Mayor Jessica with a 3-minute opening statement.
Okay. And it's probably a button.
Focus.
There we go. Testing. All right.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much to the Chamber of Commerce for having us here today and allowing us to talk about the things that are important to us and the community. But we're here today for you. It's really about what you want to see in the community and how we can help move that forward. I have met a lot of you in the room. My name is Jessica Engelke, and I'm the current mayor of North Bend. And a lot of people have stopped me over the last couple years. I was a counselor for 2 years and then a mayor for 4. And they've asked me, why do you volunteer your time? Why do you volunteer to be the mayor of North Bend? Is it because you want to be a good example for your daughters? Is it because you want to support the community that you grew up in? Is it because you want to be a good example for the students that you teach at Southwestern Oregon Community College? And I say, yes, and yes to all of those things. One, I want to be a good example for those people that I mentioned, but also I know I have the skills to move the city forward. There has been a sense, I think, in the community of maybe being the victims for a while. And I have decided that we're not going to do that. We're going to move forward and focus on the things that you want and you want to see here in the community. And my message over the last 6 years, it hasn't changed. We need to focus on economic development. We need to support our small businesses, which is the heart of our community. We need to continue to work on the revitalization of downtown and make sure that we are making that impression to people who come to visit here and want to live here, that we're open for business. We're here to continue to move forward, to find ways that we can create where our children will want to move back here. I've got a couple of my own, and I want them to come back here and make sure that they can find jobs, good paying jobs. I support economic development and growth. And like I said, I need to listen to what you want. You will find on the table my business card. That's my personal cell phone number. That's the number that I use to call and order pizza, find out what my daughters are doing, find out when my husband's coming home, but it's also for you. And like I said, I've met many of the people in this room, but what we're talking about here today are probably some of the most complicated issues that are facing our community. And I will try my very best, but it is going to be very hard to answer those in 2 minutes. So I invite all of you to use that number on the card and to call me, send me a message. I will meet you for coffee. And I know that Harry feels the same way. I have met him as soon as I found out he was running for mayor. That's the first thing I did is I went up and I shook your hand and said, I'm Jessica, I'm the mayor, let's sit down and talk. And that message is also for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
Hello. Hello. everybody. Glad to see all you folks here. I appreciate the chamber allowing us to do this. And something that I've been trying to make clear to everybody that will do since I was mayor is that this is not an attack on Jessica or anybody in the city for the way things have gone. I think I just have some different ideas on how to move forward. And I believe that getting the input from all of the citizens of North Bend to come up with those ideas of how to move things forward is the best way of building it to just a small group of people to make those decisions. And not to say that Jessica and the current administration in North Bend done that, but I would like to broaden that. And I would like to bring in a larger place to hold the city council meetings so that we could have more people at those meetings. They don't feel like, one reason I quit going to city council meetings and started watching online was because there was never room when I would go to the city council meetings. And so it's like, well, I can stand out in the hall where I can sit at home and watch it on online. And so if we could come up with a different place to do that, that's a little larger so that more people can get involved and get their ideas out there about how to move the city forward. I think that would be helpful. I believe Jessica's done a great job and the city council has done a great job. I just think after a few years, maybe it's time to in a slightly different. And if I was able to become mayor, I would still refer back to Jessica for input and the whole city council and everybody involved, you know, to get everybody's ideas, because that's how you.
First, Harry. What are the duties of the mayor and skills are needed?
Well, from my understanding, the duties of the mayor are to run the meetings and to keep control of the meetings. And I believe that as mayor, you should oversee what is being done in the city with the employees. I understand the law on the city manager, but basically, the mayor, the citizens and the city council. And if there's something that needs to be done, we need to hand that to the city manager or whoever needs to deal with that situation.
Okay. Jesse, would you like me to repeat that?
It was what are the duties of the mayor
And the skills that are needed.
and this is it. City is one of the main things that you need to do as a mayor. And we'll kind of let Terry know we've got plenty of seats open in the council. My mom is usually the only one that comes. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but there are lots of seats out there. Now, last night she came in, so I think we actually had a few people. So I take that very seriously, though. I'm like, how do we continue to be the voice of the city, get more people to the council? I would love to have the problem of are being met. And the input from you is really how we do that. And so I just can't say that enough, that this is about you and what you want, not about us up here, but how do we carry out your vision?
Thank you. And Jessica, this one will start with you. The city uses the Urban Renewal Agency as a tool for economic development. What is your take on the URA in general specifically when it comes to the city buying property, such as the case of the former Chickarellis.
Okay. All right, great point. So if you're not aware of how our urban renewal agency works, again, this might be a good time to come down and have a longer conversation with this. The URA was set in the 1990s by a vote of the people. And the purpose of the URA is to eliminate blight. And so if there are businesses in that URA district, instead of letting them just sit empty, the URA can then purchase buildings, eliminate that blight. And the whole idea is not for the city to be landlords, but to not let them sit empty on the market. And I can kind of give you an example of that. As you refer to the old Chickarellis building, when that family decided to relocate their family and move out of the area, that building came up for sale. It was very clear that there were a lot of problems with that building, and it would be very difficult for a business to move in and to continue to open. So that's where the URA comes in, and they're able to purchase that, get it ready, and then eventually the goal is you put it back on the tax rolls and you increase the value for everyone downtown. We have the URA has a pretty amazing grant program. You'll see it all around town where they take that $25,000 match and they can do some facade grants, redevelopments. So Wildflower is one of them that you may have seen. I know that some people in this room, I believe Goodwill is about ready to have their grand opening in October. They're in the URA district as well. So they applied for those $25,000 grants. They got the matching funds and they're changing the facade of their building. And I know from personal conversations with them that they wanted to be part of the movement and the change of the revitalization in downtown. They saw what we were doing across the street with the annex and thought, we want to make sure that we apply for those URA funds so that we can be part of the movement.
Harry, you need me to repeat that?
Please.
Okay. The city uses the Urban Renewal Agency as a tool for economic development. What is your take on the URA in general, and specifically when it comes to the city buying property, such as the former Chickarellis building?
Well, my understanding is similar to what Jessica just said, that we apply for grants to help to fix this stuff up, to bring North Bend back into being a beautiful city again and not letting it just fall apart. And I think that is a great thing. I don't necessarily agree with us being a landlord. I've never agreed with the city being a landlord. I don't think that's our job. Our job is to make sure the citizens and the roads and everything are maintained, and I think that's more important than being landlords. I can see fixing the building up and putting it on the market. But the other side of that is I am not well versed in the URA program, and so I need to do more research to find out what the best way of going about that is. I really think that we need to do a little more research on how to fix these buildings up before we go and spend that money. Because ultimately that money is our money. It is tax dollars that are being used for this. So it's not our local tax dollars necessarily. It's on a bigger scale than that, but it is still our part of our tax dollars go into that. So we need to make sure that we can fix it up, dress it up, get it ready to sell it, and not be the landlord of that business. And that's just my personal feeling on how this is right now. But once I get more into this, obviously Jessica's got a lot more experience with dealing with these URAs. And so she's seen how they all work. So if I can get more educated, that might just make changes. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Jessica, this will be for you. What are your plans to increase housing in town and your thoughts on developing the former Coos County Annex?
All right, I would love to speak about that. It is one of the, probably have a conversation every day about housing. So we have quite a few projects. I'll speak about the annex first. That was something that was bought with your $8. And then we received $4 million from the state and federal state and federal government to help make that be workforce housing for entrepreneurs and teachers and nurses. And so we are very close to probably breaking ground, I'm hoping in January. That'll be about 45, maybe 50. I think that we're still looking at some potential requests for proposals, but quite a few units downtown North Bend. So can you imagine how that is going to help all of the businesses downtown? So we'll have the housing down there. We have the Banger School project. That's the North Bend Housing Authority that's doing that. They are about ready to begin phase 1. So that'll be 115 units in phase 1. And plan is to have 176 units. New housing builds happening in North Bend right now. So people are seeing that North Bend is the place that they want to live. And also, I think when we talk about housing, we need it all. We need low income. We need affordable. We need high end. It's another one of those yes ands. So we have to get creative in North Bend. We are surrounded by water and then Coos Bay on the other side. So we've got to figure out ways where we can build up when possible. And we need to be good neighbors. And I love the fact that the city of North Bend is being a partner with Coos Bay on the Gloria Day project. We are helping, we've received another almost $1 million for infrastructure to help on that. And I think they're slated in Coos Bay, that's maybe 90 units that will be opening there. So that's right on our line of North Bend and Coos Bay. But being a good neighbor is something that we can do and help them with their housing projects as well.
Harry, do you need me to repeat that? Please. Okay. What are your plans to increase housing in town and your thoughts on developing the former Coos County Annex?
Well, as Jessica mentioned, we're pretty much landlocked here. And so it's hard to come up with good ideas for housing, for affordable housing. I agree with coming up with these solutions. I don't know that these are the best solutions. Again, we're becoming a landlord. And I still don't agree with that part. That is not the city's job. I would like to see us get these buildings built and then sell them and let somebody else be the landlord. Let somebody else do that part of it. And we can reap the benefits of the tax dollars that we get from those housing units through taxes and all the businesses reaping the benefits of having more people in that centrally located area. But I believe that I still have a hard time with Banger School being one of those places. Just because I think that could be better used for something else. That we could make more tax dollars off of. But again, I'm on the outside looking in like everybody else. And so there's my mind can be changed by doing some investigation, talking to more people about how they feel. And I think that should be a public decision that's made from the residents that live around those areas. And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I got out of turn here somewhere. I'm not sure where. Jessica, this will be for you. What is your plan to deal with the homeless issue in the city?
So, back to housing. And I do want to make it really clear when we speak about housing, the Banger School project that is not something that North Bend is landlords on,
Right.
Either with the annex. Those are public-private partnerships. And the the Oregon Housing Authority is working with, a private group, so that is, we're not landlords in any of those. I think with housing, and you said specifically, was it the homelessness issue?
Yes, this question is about
Is about homelessness. You know, it's complicated, and I think that's why we see so many people that are invested in this, and that the problem will not be solved overnight. We could leave with all the problems, because there's a lot of problems, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk to you about the things that we are doing. So the city of North Bend has had some mandates from the state. It's very frustrating. Our hands have been tied, and we have done the best that we could to come up with an ordinance that complies with the law. And we developed a camping ordinance for time, place, and manner. We have hired a code enforcement officer and a community resource officer that are putting people in touch with the resources that they can have. And we are continuing to promote economic growth and vitality in our community. That's one of the paths forward. It's not the only one. We know that there is a mental health crisis. We know that there is a drug problem. We need everybody to be a partner and to sit at the table. It's not a problem that just North Bend faces. This is a national problem. And so again, when I work for you through the states and these regional solutions advisory boards, this is what I'm saying is we need help here down at the coast. Again, I know that this is a problem that is statewide and national, but let's look at what we're doing and then try to make it better.
Harry, what is your plan to deal with the homeless issue in the city?
Oh, this has been one of my big issues over the past several years. Because they're moving into our neighborhoods, and really, I don't have a problem with that so much as the mess that they're making. And so my plan would be to help the people that want help. I spent a few months of my life when I made some bad decisions and I ended up living in my car. And I knew that I wanted to get out of my car and get back into a home. And so I started making the right decisions to get myself back into a home. And so I want to help the people that actually want to help themselves. We can throw money, good money after bad, at trying to help every person out there. But if we don't focus on the ones that need help and want help, then we're just spinning our wheels. And I think that we need to, as far as the mental health problem with these people that are homeless, we definitely need to get the state involved in helping us come up with a solution for that. Because that's a very, very expensive proposition, because they're gonna need more than just a place to stay. They also need the psychological help to get them moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Oh, Harry finished early.
Great, man.
You get bonus points.
I don't want to go in overtime.
No, Harry, this will be for you to begin with. Did y'all get your flyer and your water bill yesterday about wastewater fees going on the ballot? I got mine in the mail yesterday. I read it. And the question is, the city is proposing a fee increase for wastewater treatment to be on the November ballot. What are your thoughts, and what do you propose if the increase is voted down? Harry?
Well, I think that this is an issue that should have been addressed 20, 30 years ago. And at any point between then and now, it should have been addressed. Because if we had addressed this issue 20 years ago, everybody would be paying $5 more a month for their bill, and we have the money to fix the sewer lines. And we need to look at this not only with this issue, but with all other issues, our roads and everything else. So I don't think raising this the taxes on that or the payment on that every year is going to help us get there. I think we need to come up with some other solutions. And once again, I think we need to get the community involved in making those recommendations on how we can do this. Because I believe at the end of that, it says we're going to raise the rates 5% a year after 2026, I believe, 5% a year forever. So you raise that 20 or 5% a year forever, my grandkids and great grandkids are going to be paying $1,000 a month for sewer. And I don't think that's the correct answer. So I know everybody that's working on this is doing their best to come up with the best solution they can come up with. But I think we need more input from the community, and maybe somebody out there's got the right idea and the right solution. And then we can all go, oh, that was easy, and get it fixed.
Jesse, do you need me to repeat that?
Sure.
You're stalling.
No, I got it. Sewer rates. It's one of, I'm good. It's one of the very glamorous topics that you get to talk about, as a counselor and mayor, is sewer rates and wastewater. But it's important. And the reason why it's important is because of everything that we've talked about so far. Housing, infrastructure, creating economic development and growth. The city of North Bend has the lowest sewer rates in the state, if not the lowest, maybe the second to the lowest. And our council does not have the ability to raise those rates to meet up with the infrastructure needs. And it's as simple as this, is that things have a certain lifespan, and the infrastructure on those, you were correct. They probably should have been looking at this a little bit differently 20 or 30 years ago, and they didn't. And there's nothing that we can do about that now, but to move forward. The city doesn't have the ability to just change the rate, so it does have to go to the vote of the people. And since it is at the end of its life, the structure is there, at some point, if we are not able to take care of those things and pay for it, the state will step in. We do not want that. We want to be able to remain to have local control. And if it doesn't pass, there's a chance that the federal government would step in and set those rates for us. Again, this would be something that would be really unfortunate. It's the last thing that we want. And they would put a moratorium on development. You just heard the things that I listed, 22 new housing starts. Bangor School project is 176 when it reaches its final stages. The annex could be another 50. And we will probably continue to see more growth and development with that. So the people of North Bend are going to have to do their research. They're going to have to make a call and decide what they're going to vote on. And I am here to sit down and talk to anybody more about that, and to look at the budget, look at where we could go, and try to figure out how we can, squeeze just a little bit more out. But to be frank, it's not there, and we don't want to hinder the growth.
Jessica, what will you do to provide the best possible public safety for the citizens of North Bend?
Okay, thank you for asking that.
Sure.
I'm really proud of the changes. If you haven't met our police department and our fire department, go on down there and introduce yourselves to them. They are here for you, and public safety is their #1 priority. We have worked really closely with the fire chief and the police chief over the last couple of years. We have now a code enforcement officer. We have the community resource officer, and what they're doing is they're out and they're engaging with the public. They're listening to you. They're making sure that your safety needs are met. We have something that I think might be one of the first on the coast, but they're called license plate readers. And if a criminal comes to North Bend, they're going to find out that they're not welcome here. And these license plate readers will let us know if their tags are expired, if they're wanted in another state. So it has been our mission. How do we do more with less? How do we go ahead, and we all have limited resources, personally, even cities as well. So things like license plate readers make a big difference. You also might have seen a speed trailer downtown North Bend or at other places. And if you happen to inch up over the speed limit, some lights go off and it's a warning. This was something that we had heard from the citizens of North Bend, especially downtown on 101, that they had very big concerns over how much people were speeding. And how do you do more with less? Things like license plate readers, things like speed trailers. Last night, we announced in our city council meeting that there is a new kind of app that you can report a crime. You can upload pictures. And so we're streamlining these city services. It's a razor thin budget. That is no secret to anyone. And so how do we go ahead and meet your needs, listen to you, again, make this about what your priorities are so that we can make them our priorities. So go down and say hello to the police chief and the fire captain, and they'd be happy to talk to you anytime.
Harry, what will you do to provide the best possible public safety for the citizens of North Bend?
Well, I would think that the best way to do that is to keep the police force funded, well funded. They've done very well with this water board money that it's not water board money, it's money for the police department. So when we pay our water bill, goes to the water board and then it comes back to the city. But I also think that the biggest thing we need is more officers on the street. And the way to do that, instead of raising our rates on our water bill to get more money in that fund, is to actually start making the penalties cost people. So I got pulled over because I was being stupid one day in my pickup and I was speeding. And the officer immediately told me, "You will not write me a ticket for it." So we're not writing tickets for people that are making bad decisions. And it was a bad decision on mine. And the people that are driving around smoking pot, I drive around a lot and I can smell it everywhere. And you know where it's coming from, but nobody's getting pulled over for it. Nobody's getting pulled over for texting and driving. That's a $550 ticket. And if those things wouldn't fund the police department, I don't know what would, because I see it every day and I'm not out there looking for it. So if we can get more officers on the street by making the people that are making bad decisions pay the bill, I think that would be the best way to do that.
Very good. So we only have 6 questions left. Now this will be our last question. Harry, what is your stand on development on the bay, such as the North Point Container Terminal?
I would love to see some kind of industry on the North Spit. I don't want to see this turn into a Portland or a big city like that. But I believe that having the container port on the North Spit, they would be paying a huge amount of our tax base, which would pay for our police departments, which would pay for our help with our sewer lines, which would pay for our roads, which would pay for everything. And we wouldn't see our taxes going up like they're going up now. I bought my house, my current house in North Bend 10 years ago. And at that time I was paying $1,800 a year in taxes. And I understand that, that's state, that's county, that's everything. But last year, my taxes were $3,550. So they almost doubled in 10 years. And so if somebody else was paying my tax bill, I'd feel much better about it. And I would love to see my taxes not going up, 100% in 10 years. That's just a lot. And so, and on top of that, that would create good jobs, like you were speaking of, for the kids getting out of college, the kids getting out of high school. And it would bring more industry in, not necessarily industry, but it would bring more small businesses in that could make money from those people that are working out there. And so, and it would help the construction companies that are around here, it would help everybody. So I think that would be a good thing, but I still don't want it to grow so big that it takes away from what North Bend is, which is a great place to live.
Jessica, what is your stand on development on the bay, such as the North Point Container Terminal?
I've never made it a secret that I am pro-development. If we don't grow, we will die. We need to do it in a responsible way. We need to listen to people and find out what their concerns are. The city of North Bend has offered a letter of support to the container facility. And one of the reasons why we decided to do that as a city is it would provide 2,500 permanent jobs. When you have 2,500 permanent jobs, that raises a tax base in our community, and a lot of the problems that we've talked about here today could go away. So absolutely, do we need to do it the right way? You'll often hear people talk about, we've got to do this the Oregon way. And what does that mean? That means that you listen to people's concerns, you get the stakeholders all together, and you think about what are some of the issues that would be other ramifications of this project. Earlier today, when I came into the room, it was one of the questions that I asked from the external communications officer of the port, who's sitting right back there at the right. Wave your hand. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you after this and answer all the questions. I had a couple of questions that I wanted to find out where they're at with it and how they're moving forward and what's next. And so this is something where, once again, everybody needs to make sure that they are following the information, getting informed, and seeing that we can have it all. We can be that small town here on the coast, that gem that we all love, that I love. But we can also be a place that has good union paying jobs, a place that we can call home, a place that our family and friends can move back to if they need to, and do it again in a responsible way. So I am pro-development. I see how it would help all of you. It would help the businesses in this community, and it would help provide the funding that we need in a lot of other ways to carry the city forward.
Okay. So closing statements, we'll start with Harry. 2 minutes.
You both spoke on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think so. Don't confuse me, Andrew.
You just didn't. My bad.
We'll go to closing statements now. Beginning with Harry.
I just want to reiterate that this is me running for mayor. I am not attacking Jessica or saying that she's doing a bad job or anything like that. And I don't want anybody to feel that way. I think the city has been doing an amazing job. And I just believe that it's time for a little slight change on the direction we're going and how we're going to get there. And so I believe that as mayor, I can change that direction slightly. And I don't want to be mayor for a long period of time. I have a full-time job, and I plan on doing that job for probably at least 10 more years, probably a little longer than that. But I want to get people involved and engaged so that in 4 years, somebody with a slightly different idea of how to move forward can take over and start moving it in that direction, so that North Bend becomes the city we all knew and loved years ago, and maybe we can even make it better than it was back then. So this is my running for mayor is not to get Jessica out of there or get anybody out of the city that is currently working there. It's to just get everybody moving in that slightly different direction.
Thank you for saying that. And I too think that things are going really great in North Bend and that I'm doing a really good job as your mayor. And so that's why I'm continuing to ask you for your support and to vote for me. I'm really proud of the things that we have accomplished as a council and together as a city. Knowing that our finances are limited, we could talk all day long about measure 5 and 50, and that'd be a great coffee to have one day if you'd like to sit down and go over why we have such limited funding issues. But knowing that that was an issue, we said, let's go ahead and just lead with what we can fix. So we know that going after grants was incredibly important. $13.5 million in grants in just 4 years. I cannot stress to you how important that is when you have such limited amount of funds in your general budget to be able to secure those resources and provide you the services that the city deserves. We are going to continue to work for those grants. We're going to lobby our state and federal government. We are working extremely hard to get our fair share back in here in Oregon. We're going to continue to work on supporting the small businesses, listening to you and what you need and how we can go ahead and be a part of that. And some of these things have taken a few years, so you haven't even, they're going to be coming out soon, but there's going to be a pocket park downtown North Bend. So what's exciting is these are things that you are able to see with your very own eyes. As you drive downtown North Bend, you can see that URA. There's a reason why that Chick-fil-A's building isn't empty right now, is because the URA was able to get in there, get all the issues that are fixed, and attract a business that can attract other people to come in, spend money, raise the tax base, so that we can go ahead and put in all the other things that you want in the community. So thank you again for being here today. I look forward to your support and voting me in as your mayor again. Thank you.
Okay, now we can clap. Thank you.
All right.
Jessica, Aaron, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you for participating because they're important. All of us out here are really important. So now y'all go out, have some civil discourse about how to make positive change, but the key word is civil. Get it? I say get it, you say got it. Get it?
Got it.
Good. Rosie, come on up, give away some stuff.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mayor Engelke.